Well, I consulted the internet to find out what it was you guys wanted me to do. Whether it was tutorial on how to do a gorgeous looking lens for any vehicle, really. But I was going to use the Armiger Warglaive. Or whether you wanted to see another 10-minute Marine. Fully expecting that lens would win, I started painting up the night and getting it ready. Only to have the Twitter poll come out with 10-minute Marine. So, you guys have spoken. I will be doing a 10-minute Dark Angel today, and hopefully you guys will find something you could use. It's really easy. Just use a couple different colors. Corn Red, Retributor Armor, Caliban Green, Rhinox Hide, Lead Belcher, Screaming Skull, and our favorite, Null Oil. So, let's get to it. Right. So, fresh off my my 5-model challenge, I was really looking forward to painting something different, but you know, the internet speaks. So, here we have our aggressor model. We're going to be doing a Dark Angel today, so the 5 colors for this 10-minute Dark Angel we'll be using will be Caliban Green, Screaming Skull for the chest plate and the parchment of the Purity Seal, and then we'll also be using Corn Red for the case of the gun, Rhinox Hide, which I've established many times is my favorite brown, and I believe most people will agree, for the pouches, and Lead Belcher for the metal of the gun. The 10-minute Ultramarine it's really simple. We'll also be using Null Oil, but I don't have it out because I don't need it at this stage. So the first step is to just coat the entire model in 2 thin down coats of Caliban Green. And again, these 10-minute Marines are completely designed to just help you crank out an entire squad as quickly as possible. You know, because you've got, well, intercessors, you've got 5 guys. Or if you're playing in a tournament and you need them, you've got 9 guys. Because most tournaments award points for killing squads of 10, so people use squads of 9. Close that back up, and I'm going to go ahead and just coat this entire guy. And then when that's finished, I will come back and show you everything else that gets painted. Right, so 2 coats of green are on, and they are nice and dry, and they look pretty good. Matches the color, he's looking pretty solid. So the next step is to paint everything that we discussed, starting with the Corn Red. And then I will do the silver and everything else. So let's just go ahead and take a little bit of water there. So we got the water, and I always want to thin it down. I like to get it nice and thin so that, you know, it's really just perfect. I don't know if you guys can see that or not very well, so I mean, just about 50-50 mix, okay? So red will be the bolter case, and this will be 2 coats because it's going on over black and it's thin. There's a color I forgot, mainly because normally on most of my Space Marines I shave the icon insignia off, but the symbol on the gun is actually gold. So I've dug that out, and I will paint that as well. We'll do red down here for the Purity Seal as well. Just to pick it up a little bit. Be careful going around the edges. Be very careful going around the edges on things where you have the green already painted, because really what happens is, you know, you can go back over and clean it up. It's not that big a deal if something happens. So you just gotta, you know, do the best you can. You know, you're doing this whether or not you're just trying to crank out a bunch of rank and file troops as fast as possible, or whether you are just trying to learn how to paint your favorite army from this. You know, it's simple and easy. You just gotta take some time, and don't panic if you make a mistake, because everything is fixable. Okay, you just take a little time and take care of it. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to finish up the red here, and then I'm going to do the silver, which will be this part here, this part here, this part here, this part here. And I like to do the exhaust ports on Primaris backpacks, so these 4. And then I like to hit just the center of the backpack, depending on how I'm feeling. But I think on this guy, I'm actually going to do the whole assembly here, silver. Rhinox hide for the pouches, as we discussed, and I will also do Screaming Skull for the purity seal down here on the leg. And I will go ahead and take care of that, and we'll come back, because the next step is, well, it's my favorite step. So, all right, we'll be back after this. Right, so here we have the model currently going along here. I did say I was going to try to do some fancy stuff with him, so I used only the same colors to do the knee pad. I painted the entire knee pad with Screaming Skull, and then did a nice quarter pattern to match some of the insignia stuff I've seen. I've got the gold on the barrel. Everything else is looking right, just the way you want it to look. Now, if you can see, which I don't know if you can, if I can get it to focus or not on this. But I didn't do the eyes red. The eyes should be red. I actually painted them with Screaming Skull because I'm going to show you guys a nice, simple, easy way to try to get really good looking red eyes. So I wanted that as an example. So, alrighty then. Let's go ahead and do the next step, which is to liberally coat the entire model with our favorite paint, Nuln Oil. Nuln Oil, as we have established in the past, takes about half an hour to an hour to dry completely. So, once we do that, once we get the entire model coated very liberally. Now remember, when you're doing this, as you coat it along, just make sure to clean up any pools as you see them. If you see them pooling in a spot where you don't want it, just go ahead and clean that right up. Again, I love going right into the pot. And then you just kind of streak it right across the model. Now I'm going to do it on this knee pad as well, just because I want to add a little bit of definition around the edge and try to let a little pool at the bottom. Try to add a little bit of darkness to it. Because I did it without using any other colors, it does tend to, doesn't quite represent what it actually looks like, but it'll darken it up just a little bit. And the same thing here. So just go ahead and do that and come back to me when your Nuln Oil is dry. La la la, Nuln Oil, la 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 la, best paint GW ever made. Na 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 na. So you'll see on the shoulder pads here, it's starting to pool up a little bit. All you do is take the brush and just literally just kind of come right at it. And then it picks the pooling right up. It's awesome. Meanwhile, while paint dries, we can watch this tiny T-Rex ski jumping over an active volcano. Right, so we have Nuln Oiled our guy. And he's looking pretty good. If you feel good about it, you can actually stop right here, with the exception of doing the eyes. I'm going to go and take it just a step further, I think, and do the touch-ups. So all you got to do basically is remix up all of your colors now that your Nuln Oil has dried. But you want to go just a little thinner, okay? So before, when you did the green, you did about a 50-50 mix. This time you want to do about a, let's say, probably closer to 2 to 1 water to paint. So it thins it out really well. Really, really thin. Just like that. Yep. And then you just kind of go back and you touch up, just like we did on the other ones. You know, like hit up the hand a little bit. So you bring some green color back to raised edges. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Yeah. Just a tiny bit here and there. Over the shoulder pads. So one of the reasons for thinning it down so much is that Citadel paints and most paints are made with a medium and a color, okay? And the pigment color. And when you thin it down with water, it actually helps break the bond between the two, which means that you have access to the pigment and you can get the pigment away from it. So it allows you to come back and just kind of get this nice rich green and work it in. And if you're painting the shoulder pads, you don't ever want to go all the way up. Okay, you want to leave a gap. Just like if you watch any of Duncan's or Peachy's videos, they're always doing that thing where they do pin washing. And so you're just kind of trying to get like more green on the raised edges that they normally do. Highlight stuff. Top of the head. Right around the front. Over the top of the backpack. Basically. Just kind of a couple different spots to give it just a little bit of color differential, if you will. And, you know, and it comes out looking kind of nice. And if the more times that you come back to an area that you've already done and hit it again, the brighter the color is going to end up being. Okay. So it really kind of adds a focal point, if you will, to that. And I always like to do the fronts of shoulder plates because they, especially on these easy to build intercessors, they just don't have good, clean, solid lines because it's just kind of, you know, cheap molded, the cheap blue plastic. And then, yeah, so you just kind of have a few areas, call it good. Now, as far as this down here goes, I'm just going to kind of clean it up just a little bit there to get just a little bit more color. And then I'll do the same with all the other colors. Oh, and I always like to do over the top of the knee pads. And across the top of these here. So, you know, do how much you want. It's your model. Once you have applied the wash, you are technically done. You can stop at any time, and as long as you're happy with the way it looks, that's all that matters. Me, I just kind of want to do just a little bit more, because sometimes you just do. So I'm going to hit the red, and I'll hit the silver. The silver, I usually just kind of do very top points spots where light basically would shine down on top of it. And let's skip over and we'll do the eyes really fast. Clean your brush out really good. Make sure there's no green left on it. Lick it, because that's the easiest way. Just put it right on in. So the easiest way that I find to do eyes is to do a 5-to-1 ratio. So for this much paint, it's alright. For that much paint, I'm going to do at least a lot of water. Like I want it to be really, really thin. Okay, so that basically when I do that, it just doesn't even leave a line. You know, it doesn't stick It just acts like water on oil. So, clean it off so you don't have any extra just laying around there. Go back in. Just get just a little bit of red. Not too much. And then you just kind of dab it into the eye socket. And the watery nature of the paint will allow it to run to the front and the back. And it'll fill up really nicely without doing anything fancy and leaving a lot of mistakes. And if you really want to get tricky with it, clean your brush off again, dry it off really well, and then you can just take it and hit right to the center and pull some of the color out that you have now put in there. Oh, took a little too much out that side. It'll create a nice little effect. The more times you do this, the better off it'll end up looking. Kind of gives you really nice eyes, really easy to do without trying to, if you have shaky hands, get in there and just really fight with it, which is a lot of people's problems. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up and post a picture up at the end of the video. Once again, I'm Dave from Mob Rules. You can follow me on Twitter at AlphaDevilInAK. You can follow John at MobRulesJohn. John being Jon. And Danny doesn't have a Twitter right now, so I don't know if he's ever going to get one. He might not. Or you can message us on the Facebook page, Mob Rules at Facebook. You just got to Google Mob Rules and you'll see our images and find us. You can message us at any time. You can message us through YouTube. If you have any questions and you post comments, I've been doing my best to try to respond to them. So just do what you can. Remember, the most important thing is to just have fun while you're painting, okay? Just have fun and everything will turn out great. And yeah, have a great day. Do 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 do, coating the entire guy, just like a Friday night.